If you're watching this video, it's probably because you're thinking about starting a career in sales. Now, I know when you're getting started, it's kind of hard to understand if you should get into sales, what is sales, why you should get into it, especially because if you watch any Hollywood movies, they kind of portray salespeople as sleazy and slimy, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to be part of that. But in reality, sales is probably one of the most lucrative and rewarding careers just available in the modern world. So in this video, I'm gonna give you my top 5 reasons for why I believe everybody should get into sales. And this is gonna be extremely valuable for anybody who is really on the fence of deciding whether or not they should get into sales. You know, hopefully by the end of this video, you're gonna get some insights of why I got into sales myself when I was starting my career and why you might be able to benefit from that as well. What's going on, everyone? Patrick Deng here. Now, before we get started, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, the first reason why I think everybody should get into sales is that there's high pay, okay? The pay is just high in general for sales. Now, when I talk about sales, I'm not talking about, sales like you're working in a mall or a little kiosk. I'm talking about business to business sales, meaning you're a person, you're selling to a product or service to another business, and that's where the real money is at. You know, when I was graduating from university, I was actually thinking about getting into marketing at first, but then went on Google and I looked up how much does the average marketer make when they graduate from high school, and I didn't feel like it was that high. And when I looked into sales, I was like, wait a minute, how are these people making so much money in sales? And I had a few friends who were older than me and they were already working in sales, and they were telling me like how much they're making and like how easy it was and things like that. And so I decided to go in sales. You know, it wasn't only because of the money, right? But money was definitely a big factor because, if you're gonna trade your time for money, well, you might as well make a lot of it. Now for sales, entry level, I'm talking about like UK and like Australia and the US, more of the Western countries, right? You're basically making, could be like 40 to 50K base salary just starting out straight out of college or no experience, or maybe you're transferring from another industry, getting into sales. That's your base salary, and then you get commission on top of that. So I would say like in general, it might be like 40K to 60K base salary. And then on target earnings, meaning, your base salary plus your commissions might be between 55 to 100K your first year, or maybe like second year. What other job can pay you like 40 to 100K like in 1 or 2 years? Not many jobs out there. That's why like sales is like, they pay really well, especially technology sales, which is where I got my start in my career. Now, the second reason I think everybody should get into sales is it's actually really easy to get started in sales, like really easy. You don't need any sales experience. You don't need to have a specific background and education. And actually, the best salespeople are the ones that can actually just learn on the job, adapt to the different environments, and be coachable and continuously learn over time. Whether you have a great degree or not, it doesn't really matter, right? What matters is your ability to, sell and communicate with people. And a lot of time, your previous old job or maybe whatever you studied in college doesn't even train you or prepare you to be a successful salesperson anyways. So that's why, when you start in sales, it's kind of like you're starting from an open slate. You're getting a fresh start. You can be anybody you want to be. And I think that's a very appealing opportunity for most people, especially if, let's say, you're doing something and you don't really enjoy it, like a 9-to-5 job that's kind of boring. You don't feel like you're advancing in your career. It's like a dead end, but you got a lot more on the inside. Well, sales is actually a pretty good option in that you get a base salary, you get paid even more when you perform well, you get commission. So a lot of times it's uncapped commission, meaning you can go as high as you want to go. Then it's like, wow, that's a great deal. So for anyone who's looking for a fresh start, trying to learn something new and trying to get in the game, like sales is really the way to go in my opinion. And third point of why I think everybody should get into sales is that there's going to be a high demand for salespeople in the far foreseeable future. You might be thinking like, oh, because of technology, we're going to automate all these salespeople. Like when Tesla sells cars, there's no salespeople selling that car. Well, that's true, right? They do have a different business model. However, for majority of products and services that exist in the world, there will always be a need for great salespeople to sell it, whether it's technology, consulting, services, whatever it is. Like there needs to be salespeople, right? For example, let's say the VP of marketing at Starbucks wants to buy some software and it's going to cost them $100,000 per month. So like more than $1 million per year for the software. You think that they're going to have this entire process automated and the robot is going to sell them $1 million per year software? No way, because they got to make sure the product they're buying works for them. They got to get the right price. They got to have the relationship with the company. There's so many different factors. So that's why the salesperson is always going to be involved in this situation, right? And even for smaller deals, even for like a small business, if you're a small business and you want to make $100,000 decision, you're going to want to talk to a person. and you don't want to do it in a fully automated way, because what if you make a mistake, right? And even the same with consulting services, right? Like if you're selling Facebook marketing services and you're trying to sell to a business, they're not going to talk to a robot and buy your services, right? Because they need to talk to a human being. They need to know who you are, what value they can provide, how confident do they feel in you and that relationship. You know, for the far foreseeable future, salespeople are always going to be in high demand. And also, if you think about it, people who start their own businesses have to sell their own products and services, right? So basically almost every entrepreneur is a salesperson because they got to get their word out somehow. So that's why I feel like it's a skill set that's going to stand the test of time for decades or maybe hundreds of years to come, because it's just like, that's how human beings are. We got to communicate with one another to build that trust. So if you learn the skill set of selling, then you're basically taking this skill set with you for the rest of your life, right? No matter what job it is that you do in the future, even if you do something different, like if you get into marketing, recruiting, operations, you know, that's initial skill set of selling will carry on and pay you dividends, because it's learning how to deal with people, negotiate, handle conflict, be persuasive, do presentations. These are just skills that a basic human being needs in their everyday professional life. And so that's why I feel like if you get into sales, you can't go wrong, because no matter what happens, whether you like it or not, you have those skills forever. So the next reason for why I think everybody should get into sales is that sales is actually fun. When you think about sales in the beginning, it's like you think it's not that fun, like, oh, everybody rejects you and like, I feel bad at the end of the day and things like that. It can be true for some people, but it depends on the type of mindset that you have. So for me personally, sales is actually a very fun activity, right? Like I love getting on the phones with a potential customer and like pitching them a product and seeing if they're positively receptive or they're not really feeling it. And I'm trying to understand like, okay, if you're not feeling it, why not? Like what's the problem? Like why can't you move forward? It's such a thrill in a sense. I understand for a lot of people, like it may not be a thrill. It might be something that's scary and it's like the fear of public speaking, almost like similar fears. But for me, it's like this adrenaline rush. It's just fun, right? It's fun to talk to people. It's fun to use different techniques and skills and strategies, see what works, see what doesn't, and improve on it. And it's like when you're even like negotiating on price and they're thinking they want to buy something for $8,000, but you want $12,000. Like, how does that conversation go? Like to prepare for that negotiation, to go into the meeting and be like, yeah, we're not going to accept 8,000. The lowest we can do is actually 12. Like, is your team okay with that? Like having those conversations and like seeing how they react, and whether it's good or bad, it doesn't really matter to me. It's like the thrill of the game. And one thing that I really respect and really like about sales is that when you learn how to sell, it kind of teaches you how to take more control over your life. It's different from other jobs where in another job, you do a job, let's say it's marketing or it's like operations or whatever, and they're like, okay, Patrick, we need to do this, get it done in this time. And you just go on your computer, do, and then, you get the job done in an appropriate amount of time. So in sales, it's really different in that you really have control over your own destiny. It's like to be successful as a seller, you as a human being has to go out there, find these customers, convince them, hey, out of everybody you can work with in the entire world, you should work with me. And it's like that skill set of like being able to control your destiny and influence life in that way is so powerful, because it extends far beyond your career. It extends to your friends that you want to hang out with, your network, your relationship. It shows you that you have the power to create the life that you want. You might be watching this, you might be like, oh, that's a far tangent, but really it's not. To really like go out there and sell something from scratch, it's very similar to like designing your life from scratch, right? Like when I learned sales, I have to say like my entire life became better because I realized that I can have full control of everything. I can make something happen out of complete nothing and go and not be afraid of failing, not being afraid of people saying no. And that just extended to every aspect of my life, from my relationships to my network to anything new I want to do, to new entrepreneurial adventures. I'm just going and it all really started from building that confidence and learning how to sell. If you're thinking about sales and you're like, I don't know if it's for me, I would say that if you don't have any other opportunity that's better than that, 100% just go for it. Because if you really put your best foot forward and you really try hard on this, like it's really going to make a big difference in your life. Just that skill set, building that confidence and making something happen out of nothing. Like I love it. So with that said, that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed these type of videos so I can make more about it, especially if you're someone who's just trying to break into sales. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you're gonna love my other video where I'm gonna be talking about the day in the life of an actual salesperson. So make sure to check out that video here. With that said, my name is Patrick Dang. I'll see you guys in the next one.